Community Viewpoint.
Hi, welcome to Community Viewpoint. I am your host for this evening, for this segment, Maria Hurst. I am here to talk to you about a really important week that we have this week and month. So I'm here to talk to you tonight about World Breastfeeding Week. It's August 1st through August 7th, World Breastfeeding Week 2016. Their motto this year, it's a key to sustainable development. And it's a real focus right now. I mean, it's been a focus for years, but I got involved because I really believe that breastfeeding can, my take on it is I believe that breastfeeding is going to improve the lives of the human race in the future. And having said that, if you think about it, like historically, back when humans were created, there was no formula, there was no artificial milk. There was humans. We're mammals. That's how we were meant to feed our children. So this is how the human race has survived. So bring forth to today. And today we have artificial milk that is able to be fed to infants, and they're able to survive. However, we don't hear every day about infants who cannot survive on that type of milk, who need to have human milk to survive. So there is human milk banks that exist, and they exist. They're very scarce, and so the human milk is very limited. So if we can educate our public on how to support this essential cause, if we can educate the public so that you and I can continue to support mothers to feed their children for this very short time in the beginning of their life, so that their entire lives are affected positively and they're healthier human beings. I mean, I think everybody out there, if you think about it, you probably know somebody who's breastfed, and you probably know somebody who's formula fed. If you think about it, though, you know, sure, breastfeeding's good for babies. Everybody knows that. I don't know if everybody knows the risks of not breastfeeding. If you don't breastfeed an infant in the first 2 weeks, you risk the chance of their little bellies not sealing right. So if you think about it, one essential key, this table, for instance, that I'm sitting at, this table is made out of wood. There's a finish on it. If you just made this table and then you sold it and then people started using it and there's no finish, eventually parts of this table are going to break down. And it's not going to be as strong had you put this finish on it. So that's the same as a little newborn infant's stomach. It's just not finished until that first 2 weeks of breast milk, that colostrum, has sealed their belly nice and strong and done that finished. Now it's a finished belly with that first 2 weeks of colostrum. So that's just one thing. So these are important things that mothers are educated on, and that us as the public. So I'm giving you some of these facts. You may not be around a baby, you may not know a person who's pregnant or breastfeeding, but all of us go to the grocery store, we go shopping, we go to the movies, we go to Home Depot, we go everywhere, and everywhere there could be a mother nursing her child. And if we have animosity toward that mother, or we think she should take herself out of the equation to feed her child, then we're not doing our part to promote this essential task that mothers are tasked with at the beginning of their child's life. And it's for a very short time in the beginning of their child's life. You know, it's between like it could be 2 weeks and it could be 2 years, but it's essential nonetheless. And so us as the public, I want to talk to you during National or World Breastfeeding Week 2016, so that I can just share some ideas with the public on how they can support mothers and their breastfeeding experience. So if you're a business the state of Nevada, I don't know if anybody knows this, but if you have a business and it's in the state of Nevada, there is like an agreement you can sign with our state breastfeeding coordinator, Lindsay Dermond-Gray. You can sign this. You'll get a sticker for your window saying that you take the pledge to support a breastfeeding mother. So there's a little guidance in there on how you can handle, like if there's a customer that goes in and says, I'm not comfortable with that, you can tell them, we're here to support breastfeeding, and you can have a nice place. You can make a place for that mother to go that's not a bathroom. I know that if I was drinking a smoothie or eating some crackers or eating a bag of chips walking through a store, would I want somebody to tell me, you know what, you need to go drink that smoothie in the bathroom. You need to sit in a stall and drink your smoothie. That's just ridiculous, right? Nobody would tell you to get up. If you're sitting in a restaurant at a table and you're eating your hamburger, nobody's going to tell you to pick your hamburger up and go eat that hamburger in the bathroom. So it's really inappropriate for us to tell mothers to remove themselves from society, basically, and feed their child away from society. Another thing is it's their legal right to be anywhere that they would otherwise be allowed to be and breastfeed. Most mothers, I will tell you, most mothers have a cover or a scarf. There's lots of things available for mothers to breastfeed indiscreetly. But should that fall or whatever, it's not illegal for them to be breastfeeding somewhere. So there's a law. You can look up the NRS about it. But most mothers are not out to breastfeed so that they can show themselves off. That's just not what they're doing. They're out to breastfeed to make their children healthier human beings and to promote the health and well-being of our communities as a whole. Because the healthier our kids are in the beginning, the healthier they will be as a community. So we know that immunizing your children can help the community have better health. We know that feeding your kids fruits and vegetables and whole grains and healthy foods versus processed foods, we know that this makes children healthier. We also know that breastfeeding makes children healthier, and formula feeding puts them at risk of certain things in life. 50% increased risk of diabetes, heart disease, obesity later in life for a formula-fed baby. So hence the breastfed baby, that's the norm, is the breastfeeding, and then a formula-fed baby has a risk of all these things. That's not to say that you can never, if a mom is super frustrated, it's not out there to put guilt on a mom. If she's frustrated, the baby's 6 months old and has to go to grandma and they have to have a formula bottle, that's not a big deal. But we're talking about supporting breastfeeding moms in their decision to exclusively breastfeed and just being there for them. It's a mom's decision on how she feeds her child. So there's education out there. My day job at Nye County WIC, we educate moms. We give them all the information they need to make their decision, whatever's right for them. So if a mom does decide to breastfeed, my message to you tonight is to support them and support the goals, the World Breastfeeding Goals. And by let's show that slide. We have a slide here. The goal is investing to reach the global breastfeeding target will mean 105 million more children are exclusively breastfeeding for the first 6 months, strengthening their bodies and brains, and saving over 520,000 child lives. That's that's just amazing. I mean, when we think of all the lengths we go to save our children, this is something that moms have. If you're a mother, you have the ability to breastfeed. There is certain extenuating circumstances, but if you see a mom breastfeeding, she's made that decision. So if you ever want any more information, you could call Nye County WIC at 727-4884. You can always get information on it. We have little NRS cards showing the law about public breastfeeding. And so I'm just here tonight to give you some facts, to give you some information, and also to encourage you to support a mom. You don't have to know her. You can just support her. So I'm just going to show you this slide here. Breastfeeding Week's 5 circles of support for mothers and children. So in the middle, you have the women. And then the first circle at the top, you have a family and a social network. Then you have workplace and employment. So if you have employees that are working for you that are breastfeeding, you can also support them. Let's go right back to it just one more time. Then you have the healthcare system, which is your doctors and your nurses, and also the WIC offices are also in that healthcare system. Response to crisis or emergency, that's support. That's like 1-800 numbers, certified lactation consultants, internationally board certified lactation consultants, peer counselors. These are people who will help women in their times of needing support for breastfeeding. And then we have government and legislation, which is where the law for public breastfeeding came in. So all of these things come together to help mom be successful. So going back to the top, family and social network. Social network, that can be your community. That can be the people that you shop alongside with at your grocery store. That can be the person that you're helping. You know, maybe you work at Home Depot and you're helping a mom pick out flowers in her garden. Her baby's crying. She has to feed her baby. You know, if you can just be in support of her, doesn't mean you have to, sit right next to her while she's doing that, give her space. But I'm just giving you examples, but you can be in support of that mom anywhere you go, restaurants especially, anywhere you go, you can support a mom. I really, really appreciate all of your time this evening. And please, when you see a mom that is nursing in public, please support her, maybe thank her, and really just know that is helping to create healthier humans for the future. The children are our future, and if we can support moms, these children are going to make our communities healthier. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a wonderful evening. Good night.
Community Viewpoint.